What if everything you believe about aging is simply wrong? I am 89 years old. I live alone in a small house overlooking the valley where I once trained as a young monk. I need no medications, no walking stick, and no help to get out of bed. My body serves me, my mind obeys me, and my spirit, pausa, is at peace. But let me be honest with you, this was not always the case. At 68, I was a different man. Every morning, I would wake with stiff joints that creaked like old wooden floors. My back ached from simply getting out of bed. My mind felt clouded, like looking through fog. I moved slowly, breathed shallow, and thought, suspiro. This was normal. I had accepted what the world told me, that aging meant decline, that pain was inevitable, that energy was a privilege of youth. I was wrong. The transformation began during what I thought would be my final visit to the monastery of my youth, nestled high in the misty mountains of Wudang. I had gone there to say goodbye to the place where I had spent my 20s learning the ancient ways. But instead of farewell, I found rebirth. Picture this with me. Stone steps worn smooth by centuries of footsteps, leading up through bamboo groves that whispered secrets in the mountain wind. And there, carrying wooden buckets filled with water from the mountain spring, I witnessed something that shattered my understanding of aging. Men older than me, some in their 90s, moving up those steep stone steps with the grace of dancers, their breathing steady and calm, their backs straight as the bamboo surrounding them. No huffing, no stopping, no pain etched across their faces. One of them, Master Shen, his hair white as mountain snow, but his eyes bright as a child's, paused when he saw me struggling on the 7th step. He was carrying 2 buckets, each weighing at least 20 pounds, and he wasn't even breathing hard. He looked at me with compassion, not pity, and spoke words that would change everything. "Young brother," he said, though he was clearly 15 years my senior, "the body does not age, the habits do." In that moment, surrounded by the sound of wind chimes and distant temple bells, I understood. These men hadn't discovered the fountain of youth. They had simply never poisoned the well. And so, at 68, I began again. Over the next 21 years, guided by Master Shen and other keepers of ancient wisdom, I discovered and refined 8 simple morning practices. Not complicated rituals that require special equipment or perfect conditions. Simple acts that honor both the wisdom of traditional Chinese medicine and the discoveries of modern science. These practices are rooted in 3,000-year-old Shaolin longevity rituals, refined by Buddhist philosophy, and now validated by research from Harvard, Stanford, and universities across Asia. Today, I share them with you, because it is not too late, because aging is not decay, unless you choose to allow it. These are the 8 morning habits I call the vital path. But before we begin, let me ask you something. When did you last wake up excited about the day ahead? When did you last move without thinking about pain? When did you last feel truly alive in your own body? If those questions stirred something in you, then you're ready. Let us walk this path together. Habit 1. The warm water ritual. Hydration and qi activation. Every morning, before anything else, before checking my phone, before looking out the window, before even putting my feet on the floor, I reach for a cup of warm water with a pinch of sea salt and 3 drops of fresh lemon. This is not superstition, this is science, and tradition dancing together. Let me tell you why this simple act changed everything for me. At 68, I would wake up feeling like my body was a rusty machine that needed oil. My joints were stiff, my mind was foggy, and I would immediately reach for coffee, thinking caffeine would solve everything. But coffee, especially on an empty, dehydrated stomach, was like throwing gasoline on a dying fire. A brief flare followed by a crash. Master Shen taught me something that Western medicine is only now beginning to understand. Your body loses approximately 1 liter of water every night through breathing and perspiration. You wake up dehydrated, and dehydration affects everything: your joints, your brain, your energy, your mood. In traditional Chinese medicine, this ritual awakens the spleen and stomach. the organs responsible for digestion and qi distribution throughout your body. The warm water, and it must be warm, never cold, activates circulation like gentle sunlight awakening a garden. The sea salt isn't just flavor. It replenishes the trace minerals your body lost during sleep and helps with what scientists call cellular hydration, getting water not just into your stomach, but into your cells where it's needed. The lemon? It cleanses the liver, supports bile production, and provides vitamin C that helps your adrenal glands manage the day's stresses. But here's what amazed me. Western science now proves what monks knew for centuries. A study from the University of Connecticut found that even mild dehydration, just 2%, decreases cognitive performance by 25% and increases feelings of anxiety and fatigue. Yet most people wake up and immediately drink coffee, which is a diuretic that actually increases dehydration. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. Here's exactly how to do this. Before you go to bed, prepare your water. Use filtered water if possible, warm to about the temperature of a comfortable bath, not hot, not cold. Add a pinch of sea salt, roughly 1 to 8 teaspoons, no more. Add exactly 3 drops of fresh lemon, not lemon juice from a bottle, but from an actual lemon. Place this glass on your nightstand. When you wake, before your feet touch the floor, drink the entire glass slowly. Don't gulp it down. Sip it mindfully, feeling the warmth travel through your body. The common mistakes I see people make: using ice water shocks the digestive system, adding too much salt overwhelms the kidneys, drinking it after coffee, too late, the dehydration damage is already done, or rushing through it, missing the mindful aspect that signals to your body that you're taking care of it. Within days of starting this habit, most people notice their morning joint stiffness decreases. Within weeks, the mental fog clears. Within months, this becomes the foundation that makes every other healthy habit easier. I've done this every morning for 21 years. It takes 30 seconds to prepare, 2 minutes to drink mindfully, and gives you hours of clarity. Your body has been waiting all night for this simple gift. Don't make it wait another day. Habit 2. Sunlight before screens, resetting your Shen and circadian clock. Within 20 minutes of drinking my warm water, I step outside and do something that modern life has forgotten. I greet the light. This isn't just about vitamin D, though that's important. This is about resetting your body's master clock and honoring what Taoists call greeting the Shen, exposing your spirit to the sky so light enters not only your eyes, but your soul. Let me share what happened when I first learned this practice from Master Shen. I had been struggling with sleep problems for months at age 68. I would lie awake at night with my mind racing, then feel exhausted all day. Master Shen asked me a simple question. When do you first see the sun each day? I realized I often didn't see real sunlight until afternoon, and even then, it was through windows while I was indoors. He shook his head with the gentle sadness of a teacher watching a student miss something obvious. The sun is the conductor of your body's orchestra, he said. If the conductor arrives late, the music becomes chaos. He taught me that within your eyes are special cells called melanopsin receptors. They're like tiny light sensors that communicate directly with your brain's master clock in the hypothalamus. When morning light hits these receptors, it sends signals that set dozens of biological processes in motion: hormone production, body temperature regulation, digestive enzyme release, immune system activation. But here's the crucial part. This only works with natural light, and it only works in the morning. Artificial light from phones and screens confuses these receptors. Late-day sun exposure actually disrupts sleep rather than improving it. Stanford University confirmed what monks have known for centuries. Just 10-15 minutes of morning sunlight exposure increases serotonin production by 42% in older adults and dramatically improves sleep quality that same night. But in Japan, where I later studied with other masters, they showed me something even more powerful. Elderly people who walk in morning sunlight every day have 40% lower rates of depression, 35% fewer falls, and significantly lower dementia risk. The sun isn't just medicine. It's one of the most powerful medicines we have, and it's free. Here's exactly how to practice this. Step outside within 30 minutes of waking. Remove sunglasses, reading glasses, contact lenses if possible. The light needs to reach your eyes directly. You don't need to stare at the sun, never do that. Just be outside where your eyes are exposed to natural light. If it's cloudy, still go outside. Cloud cover reduces the intensity, but doesn't eliminate the beneficial wavelengths. If it's raining, stand under a covered porch or by an open door. The critical mistakes: staying indoors by a window, glass filters out essential wavelengths, wearing sunglasses blocks the exact light you need, doing this after 10 a.m., less effective for circadian reset, or looking at your phone while outside, artificial light interferes with the natural light benefits. In extreme northern regions during winter, a light therapy box with 10,000 lux can substitute, but natural light is always superior when available. I spend exactly 15 minutes each morning watching the world wake up. Sometimes I do gentle movements. Sometimes I simply stand and breathe. Always, I feel my body's ancient rhythms aligning with the cosmic clock that has guided life for millions of years. The sun has been rising for 4.6 billion years. Your body evolved to dance with this rhythm. Don't let another morning pass disconnected from this ancient partnership. Habit 3. Bone tapping Eastern joint longevity practice. After greeting the sun, I return inside and begin what Chinese monks call bone awakening, a practice that looks simple but works on levels most people never consider. I gently tap my joints, knees, elbows, ankles, wrists, shoulders, with my fingertips or sometimes a smooth wooden stick I carved from bamboo years ago. This isn't massage. This isn't stretching. This is direct communication with your bones, and the science behind it is remarkable. When I first learned this from Master Chen, another elderly monk at Wudang, I thought it looked almost comical. Here was this 85-year-old man tapping himself like he was testing a ripe melon. But Master Chen had the bone density of a man half his age, moved without stiffness, and had never broken a bone despite decades of martial arts training. "Young one," he told me, "your bones are alive. They respond to vibration, to stimulation, to attention. Most people ignore their bones until they break. We wake them up every morning." The wisdom is profound. Bones aren't just structural supports. They're living tissue that responds to mechanical stress. When you tap gently on bones and joints, you stimulate blood flow, activate bone-building cells called osteoblasts, and prevent the stagnation of qi in what traditional Chinese medicine calls the meridian pathways. Western research now confirms this ancient wisdom. Studies from Harvard Medical School show that gentle mechanical stimulation, exactly what bone tapping provides, increases bone density and reduces fracture risk in elderly adults by up to 37%. But it goes deeper. Your bones contain more nerve endings than most people realize. When you stimulate these nerve pathways through gentle tapping, you're essentially waking up your proprioception, your body's ability to sense its position in space. This is why regular bone tapping dramatically reduces fall risk in older adults. Here's my exact morning routine. I start with my knees, using my fingertips to gently tap around the kneecap and along the shin bone. Not hard, about the same pressure you'd use to tap someone on the shoulder to get their attention. I tap for 30 seconds on each knee. Then my elbows, tapping along the funny bone area and around the joint. Ankles next, tapping around the ankle bones and along the top of the feet. Wrists, tapping along the bones you can feel on both sides. Finally, shoulders, reaching across to tap the shoulder blade area and the collarbone. The entire sequence takes about 3 to 4 minutes. I breathe deeply while doing it, sometimes humming quietly like the monks taught me. What you should feel: a gentle tingling, increased warmth in the areas you've tapped, and often an immediate sense that your joints feel more awake and mobile. What you shouldn't feel: pain, soreness, or any discomfort. If tapping hurts, you're doing it too hard, or you have an underlying condition that needs attention. The most common mistakes: tapping too hard defeats the purpose, rushing through it — this is meditation in motion, not exercise — or skipping it because it seems too simple. Simple doesn't mean ineffective. In Shaolin tradition, monks would do this with bamboo rods while chanting. I do it in silence now, but sometimes I whisper a simple gratitude. Thank you, knees, for carrying me. Thank you, hands, for serving me. After 21 years of this practice, my bone density tests still surprise my doctors. We are not stiff because we are old. We are stiff because we have forgotten to listen to our bodies. Your bones are waiting for your attention. Give them just 4 minutes of gentle awakening each morning, and they will serve you faithfully for decades to come. A sabedoria por trás da ciência. Interlude. Por que essas práticas funcionam? Before we continue with the remaining 5 habits, I want to pause and share something that took me years to understand. When I first returned from Wudang, people would ask me, is this Eastern mysticism or Western science? And I would struggle to answer, because I was trying to separate things that were never meant to be apart. The ancient monks weren't anti-science. They were the original scientists, observing, testing, refining practices over thousands of years. What we call traditional Chinese medicine is actually the world's longest-running clinical trial, with millions of participants across 30 centuries. Consider what we've covered so far. The warm water ritual works because dehydration is measurably harmful to every system in your body, and timing matters for absorption. Morning sunlight exposure works because your circadian rhythm is a real biological clock that governs over 150 bodily processes. Bone tapping works because mechanical stimulation demonstrably increases bone density and neural connectivity. The monks discovered these truths through careful observation and daily practice. Modern science confirms them through laboratory testing and statistical analysis. Different methods, same discoveries. But here's what science is still catching up to. The monks understood that these practices work better together than apart. They called this synergy, the way morning light enhances hydration efficiency, how proper hydration improves the body's response to gentle movement, how awakened bones support better circulation. Eastern wisdom doesn't oppose Western knowledge. It provides the missing context, the understanding that your body is not a machine with separate parts, but a garden where everything grows together. This is why I don't just practice these habits. I practice them in sequence, with attention, as part of a larger dance between ancient wisdom and modern understanding. Now, let's continue with the habits that bridge the physical preparation we've covered with the mental and spiritual awakening that complete your morning transformation. Habit 4. The Memory Lantern. Neuroplasticidade e conexão com o passado. After my body is hydrated, aligned with light, and gently awakened, I sit quietly and do something that might surprise you. I deliberately remember. Not just any memory, one specific vivid memory that I choose with intention and explore in rich detail. Today, I might recall the smell of sandalwood incense on my first morning in the monastery, mixing with the mountain mist that crept through paper windows. I remember the nervous tremor in my young hands as I held the wooden bowl for my first meal. The way the morning bell seemed to vibrate not just in my ears but in my chest. The sound of bare feet shuffling across worn wooden floors in the pre-dawn darkness. This isn't nostalgia. This isn't living in the past. This is targeted brain training disguised as gentle reflection. Let me tell you what Master Liu, the monastery's eldest teacher, taught me about memory. Every time you recall a memory with full attention, he said, you make it stronger. But more importantly, you make your brain stronger. Memory is like a muscle. Use it with intention, and it grows. Ignore it, and it withers. At first, I thought this was just poetic wisdom. Then I learned the science, and my respect for ancient knowledge deepened even further. Neuroscientists at UCLA have discovered that intentional memory recall, the kind where you consciously bring back specific details, activates and strengthens the hippocampus, your brain's memory center. But it also does something remarkable. It increases production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, which scientists call miracle grow for brain cells. Here's what amazes me. Elderly adults who practice detailed memory recall for just 5 minutes daily, show measurable increases in cognitive flexibility, emotional regulation, and even resistance to age-related memory decline. But the monks understood something deeper. This practice isn't just about preserving brain function, it's about preserving identity. Aging often brings a gradual disconnection from who we were, what we've experienced, the richness of our own story. Intentional remembering says, I choose to remain connected to the fullness of my life. I choose to honor my journey. I choose to remember on purpose. Here's how I practice the memory lantern. I sit comfortably, close my eyes, and choose one memory from my vast library of experiences. It might be from last week or from 60 years ago. The timing doesn't matter, but the detail does. I don't just think about the memory, I inhabit it. What did I see? What sounds surrounded me? What did the air smell like? What textures did I feel? Was I hungry, tired, excited, nervous? What thoughts ran through my mind? What emotions moved through my body? I spend about 3 to 4 minutes in this memory, exploring it like an archaeologist carefully examining a precious artifact. Some days I choose challenging memories, times of struggle that taught me resilience. Other days I choose pure joy, moments of laughter, achievement, love, discovery. The variety matters because different emotional memories activate different neural pathways. The key is specificity and sensation. Vague remembering, I had a nice childhood, doesn't create the neural connections we're seeking. Rich, detailed remembering, I can still feel the rough bark of the oak tree I climbed on summer mornings, still hear my grandmother humming in the kitchen below, still smell the fresh bread cooling on the windowsill, creates new neural pathways and strengthens existing ones. Common mistakes, rushing through this, the brain needs time to form connections, judging memories as good or bad, all experiences have shaped you, or avoiding emotional memories. These often provide the richest neural stimulation. The benefits compound beautifully. Within weeks, most people notice improved word recall and clearer thinking throughout the day. Within months, many report feeling more connected to their own life story and more confident in their cognitive abilities. But perhaps most importantly, this practice reminds you that you are not just aging, you are accumulating wisdom, experience, and depth that younger people cannot possess. Aging is only forgetting who you are if you choose to forget. Vitality is remembering on purpose. Your vast library of memories is waiting. Choose one tomorrow morning and explore it like the treasure it is. Habit 5. The bamboo flow. Movimento. Matinal intelligente. Now that my mind is clear and connected, I move my body, but not the way most people exercise. I do not stretch like a young man trying to force flexibility. I flow like bamboo bending in mountain wind, responsive, graceful, never fighting against my own nature. Every morning, I perform a gentle sequence I call Neigong, internal cultivation. It is not exercise in the Western sense. It is awareness in motion. It is conversation between my mind and my body. Let me tell you what I learned about movement after I turned 70. For years, I had followed exercise advice designed for people half my age. I pushed through pain, believing the Western motto, no pain, no gain. I stretched aggressively, lifted weights with determination, and wondered why my body felt more broken after each session. Master Zhang, who moved with fluid grace at 92, watched me struggling through my morning routine one day and gently stopped me. Why do you fight your body like an enemy? He asked. Your body is your oldest friend. Would you treat a friend this way? He showed me something revolutionary. Aging bodies need movement that listens rather than demands, that responds rather than forces, that flows rather than fights. The difference is profound. Western exercise often focuses on breaking down tissue to build it back stronger, an approach that works for young, resilient bodies. But after 70, our recovery systems slow down. What once rebuilt us stronger now simply breaks us down. Eastern movement focuses on circulation, flexibility, and neural connection. We're not trying to become stronger than we were at 30. We're trying to become more fluid, more aware, more integrated than we've ever been. Research from Shanghai University of Traditional Medicine proves this wisdom. 7 minutes of gentle, mindful movement in the morning reduces joint pain by 44%, improves balance by 38%, and lowers fall risk in elderly adults by 58%. These numbers outperform many aggressive exercise programs that leave older adults injured and discouraged. Here's my exact morning flow. Shoulder awakening, 1 minute. Seated in a firm chair, I make small circles with my shoulders, starting tiny and gradually increasing. Not forcing, just inviting. I breathe deeply and feel warmth spreading across my upper back. Seated marching, 1 minute. Still seated, I lift my knees alternately, as if marching in place. This awakens my core muscles and increases blood flow to my legs without stressing my joints. Doorway, opening, 30 seconds. Standing in a doorway, I place my hands at shoulder height on either side and gently lean forward, feeling a pleasant stretch across my chest. This counteracts the forward posture that comes from sleeping and sitting. Supported squats, 1 minute. Holding a counter or sturdy chair, I bend my knees only as far as feels comfortable, then rise. I'm not trying to achieve a perfect squat. I'm simply awakening the largest muscles in my body. Ankle conversations, 1 minute. Seated again, I extend one leg and rotate my foot slowly, clockwise and counterclockwise. This improves circulation and ankle mobility, which is critical for maintaining balance and preventing falls. Spinal waves, 30 seconds. Standing, I gently twist my torso left and right, letting my arms follow naturally, like a tree swaying in breeze, rooted but fluid. Breathing integration, 1 minute. I end by standing quietly, hands at my sides, taking 5 deep breaths and feeling how my body has awakened and warmed. The entire sequence takes about 6 to 7 minutes. Some mornings, if my body feels particularly stiff, I move slower and take longer. Other mornings, when I feel fluid, I might add gentle variations. The key principles: listen more than you demand. Move like water finding its path rather than like a hammer breaking obstacles. Stop if anything hurts. Pain is information, not challenge to overcome. What you should feel afterward: warmth, increased mobility, a sense that your body is more awake and responsive. What you shouldn't feel: strain, soreness, or fatigue. Western culture teaches us to conquer our bodies. Eastern wisdom teaches us to collaborate with them. After 19 years of this gentle approach, I move with more grace and less pain than I did at 70. My joints are supple, my balance is stable, and my body feels like a trusted partner rather than a burden to manage. Pain is not a punishment for aging. It is a message asking for attention, not aggression. Listen to your body's wisdom. Move like bamboo. Flow like water. Your body will thank you with years of faithful service. Habit: the bitter first bite. Before I consume anything sweet or comforting, I take what my teachers called the bitter first bite, a small serving of bitter herbs that awakens my entire digestive system. This morning, like every morning for 2 decades, I prepare a simple tonic: warm water with a pinch of powdered ginger, a small amount of turmeric, and sometimes dried dandelion root or bitter melon extract. It tastes exactly like you'd expect: bitter, earthy, challenging to modern palates accustomed to sweetness. But this single taste transforms everything that follows. Master Wang, the monastery's herbalist, taught me something that changed my relationship with food entirely. "Sweet taste is the first lie we tell our bodies each day," he said, grinding herbs with a stone mortar. "We wake the stomach with sugar, confuse the liver with processed foods, and wonder why we feel tired by noon." He explained that in traditional Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic practice, bitter taste is medicine. It awakens the liver, stimulates bile production, cleanses the blood, and prepares the entire digestive system for the day's work. In nature, he continued, animals instinctively seek bitter plants when they feel unwell. Humans have forgotten this wisdom, choosing comfort over healing. The science supporting this ancient practice is compelling. Research from European herbal medicine institutes shows that bitter compounds activate taste receptors throughout your digestive tract, not just on your tongue. These receptors trigger the release of digestive enzymes, improve insulin sensitivity, and support liver detoxification. But here's what fascinated me most. Studies from Okinawa, Japan, where people routinely live past 100, show that the traditional morning meal begins with bitter foods, bitter melon, fermented vegetables, green tea. The first taste is never sweet. Compare this to the modern Western breakfast: sweet cereals, pastries, fruit juices, coffee with sugar. We begin each day by shocking our blood sugar, overwhelming our insulin response, and setting ourselves up for energy crashes that last for hours. My bitter tonic recipe is simple but precise. 1 cup warm, not hot water, 1/4 teaspoon turmeric powder, anti-inflammatory, supports liver. 1/8 teaspoon ginger powder, digestive stimulant, circulation enhancer. Sometimes, a few drops of dandelion root extract or a small piece of fresh bitter melon. I mix this together and drink it slowly, mindfully. Not gulping it down like medicine, but sipping it with respect for what it's doing in my body. The taste is challenging at first. Your modern palate will resist, but within a week, you'll notice something remarkable. Your craving for sweet foods decreases naturally. Within a month, you'll actually look forward to this bitter awakening. The effects are both immediate and cumulative. Immediately, better digestion of whatever you eat afterward, more stable energy, reduced bloating. Within weeks, decreased sugar cravings, improved liver function markers, more stable mood and energy throughout the day. Within months, better weight regulation, improved insulin sensitivity, enhanced overall vitality. I follow this with my regular breakfast 15-20 minutes later, and the difference is remarkable. Food tastes more vibrant, digests more easily, and provides steadier energy for hours. The common mistakes: making it too bitter too quickly, start with tiny amounts; taking it with food, defeats the purpose; or adding sweeteners, completely undermines the benefit. Remember, modern diets are upside down: sugar first, nutrients last. The monk's path is clear: start bitter, live sweet. Your liver has been working all night to cleanse your body. Honor that work with medicine, not more toxins to process. Within weeks of beginning this habit, my digestion improved dramatically. My cravings for afternoon sweets disappeared, and my energy stopped crashing before lunch. Your first bite tomorrow morning will either support your health or sabotage it. Choose wisely. Habit 7. The Stillness Bell. Respiração de presença e prevenção de inflamação. Sentinel. Before the world rushes in with its demands and distractions, I sit in stillness, not to pray, not to meditate in any formal sense, but simply to breathe with intention. This practice, known in Shaolin tradition as the stillness bell, signals to the body that the warrior is awake, but calm. Here's my exact breathing pattern. Inhale slowly through the nose for 4 counts. Hold the breath gently for 4 counts. Exhale slowly through the mouth for 6 counts. I repeat this cycle 8 to 10 times, which takes about 4 or 5 minutes. Let me tell you what this simple breathing pattern changed in my life. At 70, I lived in a constant state of low-level stress. Not dramatic anxiety, but a persistent tension that I had accepted as normal aging. My heart rate was often elevated, my sleep was restless, and I felt like my nervous system was always slightly on alert. Master Li, who radiated the kind of calm that seemed almost supernatural, noticed my internal agitation during my early days back at the monastery. "Your breath is like a frightened bird," he observed. "Quick, shallow, always ready to fly away. But breath is the bridge between mind and body. Control the breath, and you control everything." He taught me that breathing is the only function that is both automatic and voluntary. Your body breathes without your thinking about it, but you can also choose to breathe differently. This makes breath the perfect tool for training your nervous system. The specific 4-4-6 pattern I use isn't arbitrary. It activates what scientists call the parasympathetic nervous system, your body's rest and digest mode. The longer exhale, 6 counts versus 4, is crucial because it triggers the vagus nerve, which sends a signal to your brain that says, "All is well, you can relax now." Modern research from institutions like Harvard Medical School confirms what monks have practiced for millennia. Just 5 minutes of intentional breathing lowers cortisol, stress hormone, by up to 23%, reduces blood pressure, and decreases systemic inflammation, the root cause of most chronic diseases in older adults. But what the science is still catching up to is something the ancient teachers understood intuitively. This practice isn't just about managing stress. It's about establishing sovereignty over your internal state. In the West, people often feel like victims of their emotions, their energy levels, their reactions to daily events. The stillness bell teaches you that you have more control than you realize. Here's how I practice it. I sit comfortably, not necessarily in perfect posture, just stable and alert. I close my eyes or soften my gaze toward the floor. I begin by simply noticing my natural breath for a few cycles, without trying to change anything. This helps me assess my current state. Then I begin the pattern. Breathe in through my nose slowly, feeling my belly expand, counting 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold gently, not forcing or straining, counting 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale through my mouth, making a soft ah sound, counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The counting isn't rigid. If my body wants to breathe slightly faster or slower, I adjust. The rhythm should feel natural, not forced. What I notice? Usually by the third or fourth cycle, my heart rate begins to slow. By the sixth cycle, my shoulders drop and my jaw relaxes. By the end, I feel like I've taken a brief vacation from the world's urgency. Common mistakes. Forcing the breath should feel natural. Holding too tightly, gentle holding, not breath retention. Breathing too slowly or quickly, find your natural rhythm. Or getting frustrated if your mind wanders. That's normal. Just return to counting. The transformation happens on multiple levels, immediately. Lower heart rate, relaxed muscles, clearer thinking. Daily, better emotional regulation, improved response to stress, enhanced decision-making. Long-term, reduced inflammation, better immune function, deeper sleep, and what I can only describe as a fundamental sense of inner stability. If you begin your day in control of your breath, no external chaos can control your mind. In our hyper-connected world, this might be the most radical act possible, choosing to be still, to breathe intentionally, to remember that you are not at the mercy of every emotion or external circumstance. Your breath has been with you since your first moment of life. It will be with you until your last. Honor this ancient partnership with just 5 minutes of conscious breathing each morning. The stillness you cultivate in these moments will carry you through whatever storms the day may bring. Habit 8. The path of one thing. Finally, I choose one task, and one only, to be my sacred focus for the day. It may be writing a letter to an old friend, preparing herbal teas for the week, helping a neighbor repair their fence, or simply mending a tear in my favorite meditation cushion. The task itself matters less than the intention. I choose it mindfully, and I honor it as if it were the most important work in the world. This practice is based on a Zen principle called Ichigyo Zamai, complete concentration on a single act. But it's more than just productivity advice. It's a form of moving meditation that transforms ordinary activities into spiritual practice. Let me share what I learned about focus from Master Kenji, a Japanese monk I met during my studies. Western minds, he told me, scatter their energy like seeds thrown on rocky ground. Nothing grows deeply. Eastern minds plant one seed in fertile soil and tend it until it becomes a mighty tree. He was observing how I approached my days at 72, checking multiple tasks off my list, moving from one activity to another, feeling busy but somehow unsatisfied. My attention was fragmented, my energy dispersed. Choose one thing, he advised. Give it your complete presence. You will accomplish less, but experience more. This seemed counterintuitive at first. Wouldn't focusing on just one thing make me less productive? But Kenji taught me something profound. Quality of attention matters more than quantity of action. Research from Kyoto University supports this ancient wisdom. Elderly adults who maintained a daily focus ritual, Choosing one primary task and giving it complete attention showed higher dopamine levels, lower anxiety, and measurably slower cognitive decline over 5 years, compared to those who scattered their attention across multiple activities. The science makes sense. Your brain's prefrontal cortex, responsible for executive function and decision-making, becomes fatigued by constant task switching. When you commit to single-pointed focus, you're actually giving your brain the gift of depth over distraction. But the deeper benefit is spiritual. When you approach any activity, no matter how mundane, with complete presence, it becomes a form of meditation. Washing dishes becomes a mindfulness practice. Writing a letter becomes an act of love. Repairing something broken becomes a metaphor for healing. Here's how I practice the path of one thing. Each morning, after completing my other 7 habits, I sit quietly and ask myself, what is the one task that, if completed with full attention today, would bring me the most satisfaction? Not the most urgent task, not the most important by external standards, the one that calls to my spirit. Some days it's practical, organizing my herbal medicine collection, preparing healthy meals for the week, or maintaining my small garden. Other days it's relational, writing a thoughtful letter, calling someone who might be lonely, or simply sitting with a neighbor who needs company. Sometimes it's creative, practicing calligraphy, composing a poem, or carving a small piece of wood. The key is choice and commitment. I choose consciously, and then I protect that choice throughout the day. When other tasks try to claim my attention, I gently remind myself, today, I am walking the path of my chosen task. I approach this task with what Zen teachers call beginner's mind, as if I'm doing it for the first time, with fresh eyes and complete curiosity. If I'm writing a letter, I consider each word carefully. If I'm preparing tea, I notice the steam, the aroma, the color change as the herbs steep. The common mistakes, choosing too many things, defeats the purpose. Choosing based on guilt or obligation rather than genuine calling, lacks the spiritual component. Or rushing through it to get to other tasks, misses the point entirely. The transformation is subtle but profound. Daily, deeper satisfaction from activities, reduced anxiety about getting everything done, enhanced sense of purpose. Weekly, activities become more meaningful, less feeling of time being wasted, improved relationship with work and productivity. Monthly, a growing sense that your days have intention and meaning, reduced overwhelm, and what I can only describe as a deeper connection to life itself. At 89, I no longer feel the frantic urgency that characterized my younger years. Each day has a sacred center, one thing that receives my complete presence and care. Yesterday, my one thing was polishing the wooden tea bowls my teacher gave me decades ago. I spent 2 hours with soft cloth and natural oil, feeling the smooth grain under my fingers, remembering the hands that carved them, honoring the trees that gave their lives for these simple vessels. When I finished, the bowls glowed like they had been blessed. But more importantly, I felt like I had been blessed by the simple act of giving complete attention to something worthy of care. So I ask you, what is your one thing today? Choose it mindfully. Approach it with presence. Walk that path with your whole spirit. This is how ordinary moments become extraordinary. This is how a day becomes a meditation. This is how a life becomes a work of art. The morning that will define your life. Many people ask me, Monk Hanzo, how are you so alive at 89? What's your secret? I always smile when I hear this question because they're looking for something complicated, something mystical, something that requires special knowledge or perfect conditions. But the truth is beautifully simple. Pausa. Each morning, I do not ask my body to obey commands like a soldier. I invite it to awaken like a flower greeting sunrise. I do not fear aging because I meet it with rhythm, with breath, with memory, and with clarity. I do not resist the passage of time because I have learned to dance with it. Let me tell you what these 21 years of practice have taught me. Aging is not the enemy. Forgetting to live is the enemy. The world has taught you to chase longevity in pills and promises, inexpensive treatments, and complex medical interventions. But vitality, true vitality, is not found in a pharmacy or a doctor's office. It is built every dawn with small sacred acts that honor the magnificent machine your body is and the timeless spirit your soul contains. I want to share something personal with you. Last month, I had my annual health check, AP. My doctor, who is 30 years younger than me, looked at my test results with genuine confusion. Your inflammatory markers, he said, are those of a 50-year-old. Your bone density hasn't decreased in 5 years. Your cognitive test scores are in the 95th percentile for your age group. What are you doing that your peers aren't? I told him about my morning habits, the warm water, the sunlight, the gentle movement, the intentional breathing. He listened politely, but I could see the skepticism in his eyes. He was looking for pharmaceuticals, for interventions that fit his medical training. But here's what he couldn't measure with his tests: the deep satisfaction I feel when I wake each morning, knowing I have a sacred routine that honors my body and spirit. The sense of partnership I feel with my aging process rather than war against it. The profound peace that comes from aligning with natural rhythms rather than fighting them. You do not need perfect genes to live this way. You do not need special equipment or ideal conditions. You do not need to be young or already healthy. You need something much more powerful, a morning worth waking for. Let me ask you something important. How did you feel when you woke up this morning? Were you excited about the day ahead, or did you immediately think about what hurts, what's difficult, what you're dreading? The quality of your morning determines the quality of your entire day. The quality of your days determines the quality of your life. It's that simple and that profound. I have given you 8 practices that have transformed my life and the lives of countless others who have walked this path. But I don't expect you to implement all 8 tomorrow morning. That would be overwhelming, and overwhelm is the enemy of sustainable change. Instead, I challenge you to choose one. Just one habit that spoke to your heart as I shared it. Maybe it's the warm water ritual, such a simple way to honor your body's basic needs. Maybe it's the morning sunlight, reconnecting with the ancient rhythm that governs all life. Maybe it's the gentle movement sequence, learning to collaborate with your body instead of fighting it. Maybe it's the breathing practice, discovering that you have more control over your internal state than you ever imagined. Choose one, practice it for 1 week. Notice what changes. Feel how your morning shifts. Observe how this small act of self-care ripples through your entire day. Then, when that habit feels natural and automatic, add another, then another. Not rushing, not forcing, but building slowly and sustainably. Here's what I know after 9 decades of life. Transformation doesn't happen in dramatic moments. It happens in the quiet consistency of small, wise choices repeated daily. The person you are becoming is shaped by what you do in the first hour after waking. Make that hour sacred. Make it intentional. Make it yours. Your future self, 6 months from now, a year from now, a decade from now, is counting on the decisions you make tomorrow morning. Before you go to sleep tonight, prepare for tomorrow's dawn. Place that glass of warm water on your nightstand. Set your intention to greet the morning light. Choose your one focus for the day. And when you wake, remember, you are not just aging. You are refining. You are deepening. You are becoming the masterpiece that a lifetime of experience allows. Age is not something that happens to you. It's something you participate in creating. Will you create it with fear and resistance, or with wisdom and grace? The choice is yours. The time is now. The path is clear. Walk it with intention. Walk it with reverence. Walk it with the knowledge that every morning is a new opportunity to become more fully alive. If this message resonated with your spirit, I want you to know that we are now connected across time and space. Take what serves you from these teachings. Share what might help others. Return to these practices when you need reminding of your own power to age with vitality and purpose. I will be here tomorrow morning, before the sun rises, practicing these same 8 habits that have carried me through 21 years of vibrant aging. Perhaps in spirit, we will greet the dawn together. Until then, Breathe deeply, move gently, live intentionally. Remember, you are not just surviving your later years, you are crafting them into something beautiful. Monk Hanzo.